Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Welcome back, everyone, to the 11:30 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. What's good? We made it back here for another week of Talk Pro Wrestling. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world, wherever you may be at, everyone who's tuning in on Spotify, podcast, iHeartRadio. And for those who came back to the 11:30 podcast YouTube channel, appreciate it so much, man. It's going to be a dope one, another week of wrestling in the book. So that's what we're gonna talk about this week, man, for real. But before we do, if you're watching on YouTube and also if you're new to the 11:30 podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Yes, like it, leave a comment, share it, do all that great stuff. Tell a friend about the podcast. Tell me what you like, what you don't like about the show, all that great stuff, man. It's gonna be a great one. And don't forget to follow the 11:30 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, like I said, it's time to talk some pro wrestling. Got an awesome guest, man, that's joining me this week here on Talk Pro Wrestling, man. My guy Mark, man, he's the cool, dope host of Jumping the Rail, the wrestling podcast. He's gonna sit down and we're gonna talk some wrestling here this week on Talk Pro Wrestling. Without no further ado, we're gonna bring my man Mark in. Mark, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for taking the invite and, taking the time out your day to come on the 11:30 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, to chat some wrestling, man.
Heck yeah. It's been a good week, man.
Hey, yes it have. Been a dope week, been a great week. How's life treating you?
Oh, can't complain. Just got off work not too long ago. We had a couple hours before I go and record my show for this week, so I figured, there's something I'd rather do than talk wrestling for a while, so.
Hey, cool. So I love talking wrestling, though. Hey, that's what's up.
Me too, man.
That's what's up. I love talking wrestling, and like I said, I appreciate you taking the invite. So I put out the notice, man. I was looking for someone to chat wrestling, because, hey, if I don't have a guest, I can talk wrestling by myself all day long. For real. But it's always good to have a guest. Tell everyone about yourself, man. You're the host of the Jumping the Rail podcast and everything before we get started.
Yeah, I've been hosting Jumping the Rail for about a year. Me and kind of a round table of people who come in show to show. Like in this case tonight, I'm starting my first watch along. Just going through an old WCW pay-per-view this time. But we cover all kinds of topics, mainly wrestling. Sometimes, true to the title of the show, we tend to go off the rails a little bit on side tangents. But it's a lot of fun, man. Like I said, I've just started doing this about a year ago. But we do it out of Champaign, Illinois. You might know Tony Khan's hometown, and so it's that's pretty much what it is, man. I play music in the part time, and that's not my day job. I'm all about pro wrestling, man. Just ask my wife.
Hey, that's cool. That's real cool. That's real cool. You say you started doing a podcast about a year ago. Was it just because of the love and the passion for wrestling made you wanted to start the podcast, or something you always wanted to do?
I love wrestling since I was about 6 years old. Ever since Macho Man took out Ricky Steamboat on TV. But I've been listening to wrestling, podcasts in general, a lot of wrestling podcasts since about 2011. Cole Cabana, Jericho, Austin, all those guys have their podcasts, and I just kind of got hooked on it early. And it finally got to the point where I was able to pull the trigger and start my own last year, and it's been just a blast ever since.
Okay, cool. Look here, man. I'm going on my 3-year anniversary of podcasting, so I know I know the feeling. I know the feeling of being thrilled to do it, man. For real.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a wrestling fan since the late '90s and stuff, growing up in the Attitude Era. So that was pivotal for me, being a huge rock fan and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
It's always good to chat wrestling. You got that bond with another. You also mentioned Tony Khan, and you're from Illinois. It's in Tony Khan hometown. While we at it, we're going to start off the first topic. They mentioned Tony Khan at AEW.
All right.
You're a fan of AEW, right?
Yeah, I am. Pretty much since I guess before the first All In show, watching New Japan, knowing a lot of those like Hangman Page from Ring of Honor, then Omega and the Bucks and Cody, all those guys, and then when you had Jericho and Moxley in there, then I got into it like from day
Okay.
one. So
Okay, yeah, same AEW. I was talking about it this past week on Commission Talks. Is I'm not going to sit around and hate on it. It's cool. It's great. It was the flavor of the week, of the month, of the year for some time, and I just think they just need a whole lot of improving to do, especially after the whole little shambles that has been going down over the last couple of weekends.
yeah,
We're gonna get into that in just we're gonna get into that in just a few. We got an update on Hangman Adam Page's injury that took place this past week on AEW Dynamite, which he sustained a concussion. Prayers go out to Hangman Adam Page and hopes he make a full recovery. Thoughts on that situation and the title match that took place?
I thought the match was excellent, like up until the finish. You don't want to
Mm,
you don't want to fuck around with concussions. That's for sure. I mean, anybody that follows football knows what's been going on with Tua, with Miami, those 2 and 4 days, and then Pace got caught. That already hell when you don't take it right, man. And you could like it's when you see a guy down there not moving for a good 5-6 minutes, it's scary business. And
yeah.
you could tell that they were scrambling a little bit on commentary, trying to fill the time and all that. But I think they did a really good job of, number one, keeping the show going, getting Hangman taken care of responsibly. The head of the stretcher and the doctors and everybody, and then they ended the show really well with MJF coming out and doing the stuff he was doing with Regal. The whole show was just aces in my book. But yeah, like you said, good thoughts to Hangman. Like I said, you don't want to see that happen to anybody, and he's somebody I've been high on for several years. So hopefully he's not out for too long. But yeah, you don't want to take any chances when you got concussions.
Yeah, you're definitely right. You don't want to take concussions. You mentioned it just a few moments ago. I talked about it a couple of days ago, especially after the quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, and he went out there, caught a concussion, went back in for another game, and it was like, nah, this ain't it. So definitely they on the series up with Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, once I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. That was a lariat that John Moxley kind of like always do, but I think the landing, which the impact and also the landing that he did on his
Mm-hmm.
head was that really knocked him out. And like you said, commentary was trying to scramble and put things together. I felt like the match was going to end maybe like 5 minutes. What was going to end? Well, wasn't going to go on that long. And then of course MJF and Moxley did their thing at the end of the show to keep the crowd going on. But everybody was obviously, like you said, was uncertainty though. To MJF though, in the promo that he had with William Regal was like storytelling to his best, right?
Oh, absolutely. Just MJF. I mean, it's honestly he's the best promo in the company, and he has this really great knack for a guy as young as he's only 26 years old, which is crazy, but he can
Hmm.
wrap that audience around his little finger. He can get sympathy, then he'll get the heat, he'll get the hate from him, then he'll get people just chanting his name and getting that almost a baby face pop, which is crazy to think about because he's such a great heel. But he goes in, and his best promos have been the ones that have had an element of realism to them. Like you go back to the stuff he was doing with Punk earlier this year, and the stories about when he was a kid getting bullied and all that. And then you take this story that he was telling Tuesday with Regal about going to the tryout and getting the emails and how he was 19 years old. But then, and as good as that was, we got a William Regal that I've been waiting for since he showed up in AEW. Just he's just such a you don't want to throw the term master around, but that was kind of a master class in how to turn it around, because I don't know if you noticed when Regal started talking, he was getting boos after MJF's promo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the end of that promo, everybody was on their feet. Nobody was wrong there in that, which is really hard to do with a good babyface heel segment, because usually there's one guy's right, one guy's wrong. In this case, like, I can see both sides of this. But
yeah, and I think everybody, before William even spoke or he said anything, I think everyone came to the conclusion like, we don't even care what you had to say, because MJ promo was good, MJF promo was good, was great, like, boo. So then once William went on for a moment, it was like, hold up, wait a minute, he got a point here. He really got a good point. So, and I love everything that William Regal, how he just came back at him like son, like I taught you this, and don't come out here and try to embarrass me and read the letter or the email, might I say, that I sent you to kind of like light a fire under you so you can be the MJF that you need to be. And I thought it was just perfect, real perfect.
MJ is trying to say, I was only 19. Oh yeah, I was 16. I was on the Cardinals, beat up by grown men. This is the fact that you had it easy. Just if it was an email that got you this fired up. Because Regal was fighting on the Cardinals in England when he was 15, 16 years old, and just getting his ass kicked by grown men for however many years before he finally got into the business on TV. But it was just a great give and take, and like I said, this is where I think Regal is missed on the developmental side on WWE, because if that's what he's doing with somebody who's established like MJF, just think what he could do with the young guys coming up that are still kind of from square one, like on the promo end. But it's just, I hope we see more of that out of Regal going forward.
Yeah, you're right. And in a case when you become in a case when you're a great heel like MJF, and he's so over that every time he come out, he gets the biggest pop of the night, besides maybe John Moxley or someone else. But he gets the biggest pop of the night. And with MJF, I mean, I think he could, but how would you feel about an MJF as a babyface?
I hope that it doesn't happen for a while, just because I love his heel work. But he could very easily be the top babyface in that company. Just if he wanted to, drop of a hat, easy. Because like you said, aside from Moxley, nobody gets bigger reactions than he does. He's even surpassed Jericho these days as far as crowd reaction, with the exception of Jericho's song. But yeah, he's in that position right now where no matter what he does, he's going to score. Because even if you go stick the tweener out, the Tracy Smothers tweener, you go against everybody, that would work. Because he doesn't have to change anything when he turns babyface. Because he's getting over on those promos that he's cutting nowadays. So he wouldn't have to change that even. And he's just great at what he's doing right now.
Yeah, definitely great of everything he's doing right now, every promo. And one thing William Regal said that I would like to see more MJF do is actually win matches on his own. And I would like to see him win matches on his own to prove that he is not just more than a loudmouth and just, on the mic, on the stick, he's great, but I want to see more of what he can do also in the ring as time goes on. But you guys, man, we're gonna move on here on Talk Pro Wrestling from AEW to WWE. It was rumored just going around that former WWE legend Dwayne The Rock Johnson can possibly become an executive of the WWE. Now, talks have been, going out there with Nick Khan, and Nick Khan kind of like brushed it off a little bit. Mark, I want to ask your opinion, your thoughts on The Rock maybe becoming an executive or buying World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah, the rumblings I heard was that he had approached Nick Khan about actually buying the company outright, which I don't know how legit that is. I know Rock
Yeah.
and Nick Khan they go way back. They've done business before, and if anybody like from that era was going to do it, I think The Rock would be the guy to do it. Number one, he's got respect for it. He's got the pedigree. He's a third generation guy. His grandfather and grandmother were promoters, and he's got the name and the face value to really elevate. I guess elevate would be the right word, but keep the company going, I don't think he would make a whole lot of changes. I think he would, if it was me, I would say I would have him still keep Triple H with the book in the run of the day to day of it, because I don't think there's a lot of people busier than Dwayne Johnson right now between everything he's doing. But yeah, I think he would. He's got the respect for the business, and that's the knock I have on a lot of the office of WWE is there's so many people there that don't have the background in wrestling. Like you got Triple H, you got Bruce Pritchard, you got like Michael Hayes on the creative side, but then you got a Nick Khan who doesn't have a whole lot. Like before WWE, I forget where he was working, but it was in entertainment, but it wasn't in pro wrestling. And he kind of was putting the bottom line ahead of the product. It almost seemed like when Vince was running the show. But now that you got Triple H kind of making the day-to-day decisions, it's more wrestling focused. And I think if The Rock got involved, it would stay that way. I don't think he would veer it back to the Vince philosophy necessarily.
Yeah. I totally agree on that. I totally agree. I feel like if The Rock would come in and having a piece of WWE and being an executive, I feel like Triple H is doing a fabulous job since he's taken over.
I agree.
And I just think that The Rock would just bring more eyes on it. I think that's what WWE is doing right now with Logan Paul and the whole Roman Reigns. Regardless of my opinions on it, I don't understand it. I don't like it, but I get the logic behind it, putting more eyes on the product. And I feel like with The Rock as being a top movie star, you got Black Adam coming out, just so much, elements, behind the name The Rock, and with him also being the owner of XFL, buying that from Vince McMahon. So it's so many, things that could be dope. They could really play, but I think he will actually keep most of it. Most of it the same though. Most of it the same. Speaking of the same, most things stay the same. More things change. More things stays the same. But things look like they're changing though in the year of 2023 with WWE's pay-per-view slash premium live events, and fans for a long time, such as myself, was very opinionated on WWE removing like gimmick pay-per-views such as Hell in a Cell, Extreme Rules, TLC, which TLC has been the recent one they have removed, and in 2023, most of those pay-per-views are going away. And I want to ask you, are you a fan of it? Any pay-per-views you'd like to see return? Thoughts on that?
I've never been a big fan of the gimmick pay-per-views because I go back to like taking Hell in a Cell for example. It almost gets too gimmicky when there's a whole show dedicated to it. Like, it used to be that would be the ultimate blow off to a really great feud. You take like your Undertaker and Michaels, Triple H and Batista, they can go on, and that would be the icing on the cake for just a really big pay-per-view. But then when they started doing a pay-per-view with 2 or 3 Hell in a Cell matches, they kind of diluted it a little bit to me. And same thing with TLC. I loved when the TLC, the Money in the Bank was running, man. Money in the Bank when it was on WrestleMania every year. I thought that was awesome. It was a great attraction for WrestleMania. So I would kind of bum me out when they put it on its own pay-per-view, because it made sense to me to have it. You win the briefcase at WrestleMania, you have until WrestleMania to defend it. It just made a nice even number to me, like for that. And as far as bringing any back, I like the idea of doing not even every month a pay. Give me like 8 every year. Just kind of spread out the storylines a little bit. You keep your main 4: Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I do like Extreme Rules as a pay-per-view because it's not all Extreme Rules matches, finger quotes. It's a tables match, it's a chairs match, it's a street fight, it's all these different variations on like a no DQ match. So that works. But like TLC, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank, I think those shouldn't be standalone pay-per-views. Those should be sprinkled through some of the other big shows.
I agree. No, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. Like Hell in a Cell got to be the standout one, and also Money in the Bank. But Hell in a Cell, man, I remember back in 2005 when Triple H and Batista rivalry just got to the core, or Triple H and Shawn Michaels, or like you mentioned,
Yeah.
Mick Foley or The Undertaker. It was, we're gonna blow this thing off inside this 20-foot. 25-foot Hell in a Cell cage, and that was the combination of the rivalry. And yeah, me at the beginning when this whole Hell in a Cell concept came about for the pay-per-view, I was like, okay, well, is every match going to be in Hell in a Cell? I guess that was too much, but I don't know. I was just not too much of a fan of it. Just having it pay-per-views and stuff. But the Money in the Bank definitely was an attraction. I think with the Undertaker no longer at WrestleMania, we got John Cena is no longer there. We got a lot of these top veteran guys are no longer going to be there. We need to have something that is it an establishment. We know at WrestleMania we're going to see this match, and that was it. That's how it was for some time. We knew we buy a ticket, we want to see the Undertaker defend his streak, or it was going to be such and such. And I think the Money in the Bank having it at WrestleMania, that was a cool thing. And until they changed it for some time, though. Yeah, and definitely.
But I get the brand. I get the strategy. You want to bring all that, and but yeah, it's just I'm an old school fan. I like the attraction matches as attractions, not as a full show. So.
Yeah. I got you. Speaking of pay-per-views or premium live events, what was your thoughts on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view? Because I thought it was one of the best Extreme Rules pay-per-views in a long time. That majority of all, if not every match, was an Extreme Rules match. Besides the fact Bray Wyatt also returned.
Well, yeah, and yeah, they couldn't have done that much better with Bray. But I thought overall it was a very good show. I think. My personal opinion, my favorite match of the night was the opener, the Donnybrook match, the Brawling Brutes and Imperium.
Oh yeah,
but there's so much good stuff on there. The ladder match was fun with Bianca and Bayley. I was a little lukewarm on Ronda and Liv Morgan in their match. I mean, with Liv, and she's a tough chick, man, but she's not the kind of. You don't picture her beating Ronda in a street fight. I don't picture many of the guys on the roster beating Ronda in a street fight, to be honest with you. So that was kind of a no-brainer to me. I thought Ronda was going to take it. But then you take the fight pit was really good with Riddle and Seth. I was wondering about that. We've seen Riddle in the fight pit before on NXT. But I was curious how Rollins was going to do, and I thought he did a hell of a job.
Yeah, he did. I thought Seth did a cool job. Coming up with stuff to, I seen him, climb halfway up through the cage and turn around, do the frog splash. Because it wasn't no ring post in the ring to climb up and do anything, but. Yeah, I thought he did wonderful. I thought Seth Rollins did wonderful. I thought the Extreme Rules pay-per-view was awesome. The Liv and Ronda match was the only match that was like, I kind of was with them taking the belt off of Liv, because Liv, it just seems though her chase was better than her being champion, and it seems that the crowd also turned on her. Yeah. That was that. Yeah, but everything else, in my opinion, was incredibly awesome. I just love watching some of the reactions, especially at the end where everyone was expecting Bray Wyatt to be there, right? And you get the copyright in, and was like, oh wait a minute, and then all of a sudden the lights go out and it's Bray Wyatt. So I thought that was amazing, though. That was really awesome.
That's what Triple H used to do on takeovers all the time. Put the trademark up. Boom, Chopper runs the Gargano into the wall and starts him out. So, Uh, I do have my one thing I hope with Triple H get back to Liv and Ronda. I hope that they need to kind of put a charge in that women's division a little bit. Uh, I know they got people out. They got Becky's hurt. Charlotte's not there. Asuka and Alexa been off TV the last few weeks, but I think they need to put, like I said, they need to put a charge in that women's division a little bit. They got Ronda.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Triple H do more with Shayna going forward. I think he will because he's always high on her. I'd like to see Rhea get more ring time instead of just being Dominik's mouthpiece with Judgment Day, which he's doing a great job with, by the way. But
yes.
you got these great ladies on the rosters that they're not doing a whole lot with in ring, like character wise. They're doing. But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of the in ring with these ladies and really show them what they can do.
Definitely. I think Ronda Rousey said it best at an interview. I think she did. It need to be more rivalries and stories between the woman that's not in the title picture. You know, we got the title picture, but we need something, separate for the other women to do. You know, we got the title picture, we got the tag team. Let's have something else. And like you mentioned, Shayna. Yeah, I felt like for a minute, Triple H was like, okay, that because that was his girl in NXT. She was like unbeatable for a long time, man. So
She was
really,
awful.
well, yeah. I would love for her to come back with that. Raquel Gonzalez Rodriguez, whatever one. I would love to see her turn heel. I think the whole smiling thing, the whole physique thing is just she got it in her. But I want to see more from that. But like you said, more from the definitely more from the women's division. Obviously, Rhea Ripley, Wiseman and Dominic Air every now and then. So yeah, that's dope. Speaking of Dominic, though, do you feel like him being in the Judgment Day will help him grow as a wrestler?
Uh, I do. I think Ray's done a great job training the kid. I mean, he's still green as grass. I mean, clearly, but I mean, there's not a lot of guys that have improved more in the last year than Dominic in the ring. Like just in generally speaking. Plus, he's working with Finn Balor and Priest in the ring every week, and there's not a whole lot of better guys working with Finn Balor if you're trying to learn. He's got a background training guys. He's a veteran. Priest is one of my favorite guys to watch going back to Ring of Honor, and yeah, I think he can only get better. And there was before he was in Judgment Day, I thought he should be in NXT, maybe go down and get a little polish. But I think he's getting that polish now. He's actually they're giving him something to work with outside of just being Ray's kid, which I thought wasn't working. He was doing all Ray's moves. It kind of reminded me of when Dustin Rhodes first came up when he was running with Dusty in the early '90s. But where was I going with that? But no, I think Dominic he's getting heat like crazy, which he wasn't getting the good kind of heat when he was running with Ray. But nowadays, I thought the way they're doing it now, having Ray go to SmackDown is great because they're stretching this story out. It's not going to be Ray getting his ass kicked every week. But I'll tell you where I think they dropped the ball, and I haven't had a chance to run my podcast since it happened. I thought Dominic should have taken Ray's mask. They should have beat him down. Dominic take the mask off, just carry it around like a trophy, and then I don't know how familiar you are with Lucha Libre. The biggest blow-off match they can have is if it's a guy with a mask and a guy without a mask. It's hair versus mask. The loser either gets his head shaved or loses his mask, and they can do that with Ray and Dominic eventually. Which I would actually, if I'm booking WrestleMania, that's what I'm doing at WrestleMania.
Okay. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I think my part that I was always trying to put together in my head, how obviously, and I'm so glad that Ray went over to SmackDown. I'm so glad because it was a match made for them. Obviously, Ray said he don't want to touch his son, and the big matchup and the big payoff is obviously at WrestleMania. And like I said, going through my mind is how do we get them to go one-on-one? Obviously, Dominik has tortured his father, has made him leave Monday Night Raw, and everything just left him to hang, and now he's all grown up. So what would it take for Rey Mysterio to fight his son, taking off this mask? I mean, that could be a possible one. But since
Or
these are father and son, or real
yeah,
life family, I think we should take it up a notch. And I think Triple H telling really good story. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it would be Dominic mom coming out to say something, and
see, I
I
was
don't know.
thinking,
Like
I was thinking of Leah come out, the daughter, maybe have
okay,
a
the
bit
daughter.
rough for a bit, Dominic not do anything, then that could get Ray fired up. And then I'm thinking maybe at the Rumble they finally made contact the
Hmm.
first time
Yeah.
during the Rumble
Hmm.
match, and then build that to WrestleMania. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're not running a pay-per-view between the Rumble and WrestleMania this next year. I think it's just going from
Okay.
January to April. So, but
I like it.
yeah, I think that can either that could be how Ray retires, lose the mask, retire, put the kid over, or it just you know push Dominic to the moon. Just put him in the ring with his dad. Have him do what they do.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I definitely see the matchup he's going to have with his son is the moment he retire, kind of like, uh, kind of like go ahead and passing the torch on to his
Yeah,
son and stuff like that. I can definitely see that happening. I don't see them touching until then. So
yeah,
that's gonna be cool. That is gonna be cool. Dominic is grown up. Is definitely grown up. And like how you mentioned, before him with his dad, I think he learned everything he needed to learn with his dad. And a lot of people was like, yeah, he need to go to NXT, man. He's still green, man. He need to learn. But I think with him, it's separated from his father and with other wrestlers, and going through the day-to-day lifestyle of a WWE superstar. I think he's learning instead of just having his father hold his hand. So when they do come back up, it's gonna be all cool.
yeah.
It's gonna be all cool. We were talking about Bray Wyatt before. It's some big plans in store for Bray Wyatt all the way up until WrestleMania, the Wyatt Six. And I want to get your thoughts on this because I'm just, I've been staying off of the whole. I've been taking a back seat, I say, a back seat on the whole rumors and stuff like that because at times for me wrestling has became more predictable than you would want it to not be. So I like to see a lot of stuff play out, but I'm hearing about this whole Bray Wyatt Six and reading about them different personalities and stuff. What's your thoughts on it, and where you think this may go?
Uh, well, I've heard all the rumors. Some people say it's going to be like Bo Dallas and Joe Gacy and some other people coming up with it. But then I've also heard where it's the Wyatt Six is all six of his split personalities, all kind of running amok in his head, which is a really creative idea if they do it right. And I think with Bray, I think he'll do it right. He's smart and he's always had a really great grasp on whatever character he's doing. My personal favorite's the original Cape Fear, Max Cady, Bray Wyatt from NXT when he was running with Cena at WrestleMania. But I've heard some people say that he's gonna do War Games with the Bloodline, which I hope is not true.
Yeah.
I think it's too early. I think eventually he'll get that title run with Roman, but right now they're reestablishing Bray right now. And I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't have a fantastic feud with Roman, because he would, but yeah, I mean, we're still figuring out where Bray's going with this Uncle Howdy business, or if he's going to bring back Husky and the Buzzard and the Rabbit and all this. You never know. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to tune in every week to see what happens next, which is the best thing you can say about a character. They leave you wanting more, and there's not a whole lot of wrestlers doing that these days. I mean, there's a few, but I mean, MJF is one. We were talking about him earlier, and then Bray. But yeah, I think I don't even know where you would start with Bray, who his first opponent would be. He's exclusive to SmackDown, so I mean, I'd love to see if he's going babyface, put him with Cross. It's kind of a no-brainer. But they have so many. You got Sami Zayn, you got McIntyre if you want to go that route. So there's not a bad match to be had for Bray on SmackDown. So I'm just really
Yeah.
excited to see where they go with him.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where they go for him. I hope it's not true what putting him against the bloodline right now. And I feel like it's too soon right now. Let's just get caught up on Bray Wyatt, see where he's been, how he's doing. Obviously, he shared how he's doing last week on SmackDown. And just let's just get in the move to it right now. And I think Karrion Kross, he's need to finish up what he's doing with Drew McIntyre, but I think Karrion Kross is notable opponent for Bray Wyatt. I think a lot of people, but just like let's see where he's going with it, and I think it's going to be amazing. I do like the original Bray Wyatt when he came from NXT. The Fiend stuff was creepy, cool, but eh.
I th-
Husky
they
was, say it again.
I think they overdid the Fiend. It was too much. Like,
Hmm.
as an attraction, I thought it was awesome. It looks like when they first debuted the Fiend in that little video on Funhouse, it scared the piss out of me. Holy crap, it was crazy. But then every match was the Fiend. I think they should have done more matches with Bray, and then save the Fiend
Hmm.
for like WrestleMania. Like how Finn does the Demon. It's not every match, but
Yeah,
it's really big ones.
yeah, and I think another thing that killed that too, the whole red light throughout the match. I think that
Yes.
was like a buzz killer throughout. Like, really, we gotta really sit through this throughout. Like, come on, man, come on. So, yeah, that was weird. That was weird. But can't wait to see what Bray Wyatt really do. Just hope he don't get into a title picture just yet. Like, I think Bray Wyatt right now is in everything he's telling in the creative side is bigger than putting the title on him at the moment right now. So he don't
Oh,
necessarily need a
yeah, I
title.
agree with that.
Um,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, Bray.
definitely.
Yeah, he does need a championship to get over, and it's like I said, I think it's too much. I didn't think they should have put it on him when he was the Fiend either. To be honest with you.
Hmm. Seemed like they just wanted to make some extra money, knowing that title was cool. Seemed
Mm-hmm.
like everybody had they, custom made title. The Rock did, Stone Cold did, John
Right.
Cena, hell, he did for a while.
It kills me that
Okay.
they're used.
All right. But you guys, man, before we get on out of here and roll on out, we got NXT Halloween Havoc coming up this coming Saturday. This coming Saturday, which is going to be a cool pay-per-view. One thing that stuck out to me in NXT this past, are you a fan of NXT? The whole, reviving back to just NXT and not the 2.0?
Oh, I love NXT. I said the original Black and Gold NXT was the best wrestling show on TV when it was on.
Mm-hmm.
2.0, it's okay. I mean, it was like everybody had so much shit to talk about it, but I got it. It was developmental, and you get to see these kids grow up from like where they started out, and now they're kind of doing like a mix up of the two. It's not the Nickelodeon colored logo anymore. It's the like the gold and white kind of thing. But
Yeah.
they've done a really good job of building these characters for these kids on NXT, and yeah, it's kind of like Triple H is kind of adding his vision, but keeping the strategy of developing these guys as opposed to just trying to run a third brand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
You're right. You're
yeah,
right. You're right. NXT, I'm loving the fact that they're back to the whole, go and the whole 2.0 was cool. Some guys that came out of there, man, I can't even think of his name. Chase U. That's not his
Andre,
name, but I dig him.
yeah, Andre
Andre Chase.
Chase.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like him. I like him. Braun Breaker, he's cool. I mean, we all kind of like see he's the
He's going to
the
be the
guy
guy
that he's pushed.
sooner than later.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's a couple other people that I'm digging, but I'm a big fan of Carmelo Hayes. I feel like he's
Oh,
gonna do real big on the main roster when he definitely comes up. So yeah, man, NXT is fine. I think everybody who's champion right now is gonna win at NXT. I think this is just another pay-per-view to just get everybody by and hopefully some interesting things to come up. I mentioned NXT. I want to mention one thing and your thoughts on it real fast. The whole Ring of Honor TV deal. Do you feel like that would be good for AEW and Ring of Honor, bringing that back to TV, or thoughts on that? Because I think they could do without Rampage and maybe replace Ring of Honor if they're gonna put that on TV. But
Uh,
what's your thoughts on it?
I think Ring of Honor should absolutely have a TV deal in some form or fashion. Rampage, I admit I don't watch Rampage every week. I'm usually
Mm.
either out gigging or, if I have to work the next morning, I get to 5 in the morning every morning. So I'm usually not up that late. But it's, I like the idea of, I actually, to be honest, I think they'd almost do better having a YouTube deal. Take out
Okay.
your dark elevation or your dark, all, because number one, they have such a backlog jam of talent in AEW that they're squeezing them all into these YouTube shows or on Rampage here and there. You could take one of those. You keep Dark on YouTube. Take Dark Elevation, make that into a Ring of Honor product, and I think that would be great. And then if they can get it onto Time Warner, I think the talk was putting it on TBS or TNT, right? For
Yeah,
Ring of
somewhere
Honor.
around. Yeah, somewhere around that they're trying to get a Ring of Honor on. Like you said, in my place, my opinion, I would just go ahead and because I don't know if you ever been to an AEW show, but yeah, it's a
Early
it's
on.
a okay, okay. It could be a lot at times though. If you go to a Dynamite, like a couple of weeks ago, they were here in DC though, but they were coming Wednesday and Friday. But if they were just here on that Wednesday, they filmed Dark Elevation before. So then they're gonna film AEW Rampage right after. So you got to stay for Elevation. You got the full 2 hours of Dynamite, then they're gonna film Rampage. That's a lot, So I
Yeah.
actually would just do something else, Do something
Yeah.
else. So I
Yeah. I
definitely
would.
definitely dig it.
Yeah, I would take the Ring of Honor. You have to split the roster in half at all. Just take that core Ring of Honor group that they've got, and then run shows in Philly. So you can use the 2300 Arena like they used to, or the go to
Hmm.
Chicago Ridge, or all these places that they used to run back 10 years ago, where they would always draw good houses. Back when they had like your Steens and your Briscoes, your Heroes, and yeah, just kind of start from square one. They got a hell of a crop of champions right now between obviously Jericho. It's crazy to think that Jericho's the ROH World Champion, but then you take your Daniel Garcia, your FTRs, tag champs. They've got a heck of a core to work around, and I think if they can get a good product, I think it would just go great.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. We're gonna wait and see, man, as the story develops over the next coming weeks. Hey, Mark, man, I appreciate you joining me this week here on Talk Pro Wrestling. It was real cool taking the time out today, man, and also taking the invite to coming through here on the 11:30 podcast. I appreciate you a lot. Before you go, man, you're the host of the Wrestling Podcast. Tell everyone about it, where they can catch it at, with some new episodes, and where they can subscribe, man.
Subscribe on we got Podbean, get it on Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify. It usually drops on every other Thursday. The schedule's going to change before too long, but for right now, it's every other Thursday. We got a special episode I'm recording tonight that's going to drop tomorrow. It's a live YouTube watch along with Halloween Havoc 1989 WCW, and it's one of my favorites. It's kind of appropriate given we're getting ready for Halloween Havoc for AEW.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can catch us there. ProWrestlingTees.com/JTRPod. You can get our merchandise, and yeah, so we record live usually on Tuesdays, drop it on Thursdays, and we just talk kind of like what you guys do. We just talk about the hot button topics. We do top 10 lists. We do just if there's a certain wrestler, we'll just discuss them at length here and there. But it's a lot of fun. I think you guys will enjoy it. And yeah, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jump the Rail Podcast. So
Hey,
yeah,
that's what's
just
up, man. That's what's up. I will be most definitely sharing it and subscribing to it. The episode you sent me that you did a couple of weeks ago when you guys were viewing All Out was a dope episode. I'm in the process of still listening to it, but amazing, amazing. I'll put the links down below for everyone who want to listen on Apple Podcasts, or if you want to tune in on YouTube. Definitely hit the link down below. Subscribe to Jump in the Real Wrestling Podcast. For real. Once again, Mark, man, this was an awesome one. You know, you welcome me anytime. We gotta, do something where I can come on and chat wrestling on your podcast too, man, in the
oh, yeah,
future.
absolutely.
So
You got an
there,
open
yeah,
invite.
man, yeah, man, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. I appreciate you. You're always welcome here. Once again, thank you for coming here on the 11:30 podcast, Talk
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yo, Mark, man, I appreciate you coming through here on the 11:30 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling this week, chopping it up, man. All things wrestling, man. All things wrestling. Really dope show. Before I head on out of here and before we end this week, you guys don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts is at. Jumping the Real Wrestling Podcast is tap in wherever you get your podcasts is at, man. It was really dope, man, chatting with him, man. Bray Wyatt, the White Six. They got big plans for him all the way up until Mania. So that's going to be great. Prayers out to Hangman Adam Page. Hope he makes a full recovery after that concussion. And praise to MJF, man. I think he's the AEW savior, man. I really do. I think he is the guy to change AEW and take it further where it need to be. For real. Speaking of Savior, Bray Wyatt is indeed back. We're gonna see what he does tonight on SmackDown after that creepy ending. Really dope. Him breaking his silence and being the real Bray and telling everyone what he's been through and dealing with deaths and stuff like that. So great to see him back. All that and more, man. This was dope. This was really dope. So once again, shout out to Mark and the Jump in the Real podcast, man. For real. Man, before I go, you know what time it is. Don't forget to follow the 11:30 podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at the 11:30 podcast. Like the 11:30 podcast on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Twitter. I already said that. Follow me on TikTok. That's what I missed. Follow me on TikTok at the 11:30 podcast, and also follow me on Instagram at the 11:30 podcast _ And also, man, click the link in the bio of the 11:30 podcast Instagram page. Get you some merch, man. It's a little cool. The weather is changing. You gotta stay warm, man. Get you a shirt, a tank top if you like going to the gym, so you can be, podcast ready, man. For real. Don't forget to tell a friend about the podcast. This was a definitely great one, man. For real. All new episode of the 11:30 podcast. Main episode will be streaming this Wednesday. Coming up, man, on YouTube and the audio version on Spotify. Tap into the latest episode. And then, man, that's about it. Enjoy you guys a weekend. Enjoy wrestling. Halloween Havoc is coming up. So I got Braun Breaker retaining. I got Mandy Rose retaining. I got Carmelo Hayes or Wesley is going to win the North American Championship. It's a emblems matchup between two of the guys that were in. Oh man, I can't even think of the daggone Diamond Man. Yeah, man, it's gonna be some fun matches, fun time this week NXT. So everyone enjoy wrestling, independent wrestling, whatever it is, man. Just have fun and enjoy life. Yo, it's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Stay blessed, stay safe, give all the glory to God, man. Won't he do it? Yo, it's your man Dre, man. I'm out.